Hello everyone, this is Beth. Happy New Year. Well, it's my second video of the year, but whatever. Happy New Year anyways. Yeah. Full moon reading was like, whoa. It was very, very powerful. So if you haven't watched it, hop on over somewhere on my YouTube channel, wherever it is, and watch it. Luminous dream weaving really came through and appears to, these are the energies I am tapping into being a huge theme right now. But so go watch it if you haven't watched it. It was kind of one of those ones where I was sitting there going, whoa, that was, when I got done, felt really, really powerful. But we're here to talk about some New Year's magic, and one of the ways I weave that into my life, going with that Dreamweaver kind of thing, and also grandmother's spider's been just like here in my life, hardcore. I call it grandmother's spider because that's what she told me to. I'm not arguing with her. You can argue with what she asked me to call her. I'm not going there. But anyways, she's been showing up in various ways for me, actually really since I think the last 3 months of last year. She really started coming in really full force for me. I've worked slightly kind of with her in the past, not quite as heavily as I am right now, but part of that's where the dream weaving's coming from. This is like a whole tangent into what I'm doing, but oh well. That's what I do. I tangent. She's on my altar right now too. But the luminous dream weaving thing, one of the things that just kind of keeps coming in and coming in. And she's been coming in a lot too lately, and it's kind of interesting whether it's like energy wise, or I got spider web turquoise necklace for Christmas. So she's just been showing up in various ways. So some tiles I made, they're sticky. I have some stuff too, so you can see where the paints came off. I was very sad they were sticky. They're not as sticky as they used to because there's a felt lining in the bag, and they all kind of got coated in fuzz. And I have some other clay with some non-stick stuff I want to try. Making some different kinds of tiles for divination. But one of the things I do at the new year, actually I start in September. I start auditioning words of the year in September. I'm that much of a geek when it comes to this. I start trying on words in around September before the year changes, and just kind of like I try them on. It's like, what feels good, what doesn't feel so good, what feels right, what doesn't feel right. And I also look at the aspect of what is my year card gonna be. I think it was 2014. I don't know how. I'm not very good with dating, but 2014 or somewhere around there, I started working with the word of the year, and my year card. Except I only started working about the year card about 3 months in or 6 months in. I can't remember exactly. When I sat down and figured out what that was, and it was a death card year, and my word was forward. Okay, just forward and death with rebirth, and a lot of snake energy, because that was the year I started working with snake too. Just take a minute, and yeah, forward, death, and snake. Like a little rocket going off. And I was all like, no. I wanted to go forward, but at the center I was like, no. And so I finally let myself go forward. And woo. Things changed. Things were changed for the better. Because that's where I decided I wanted to go. I decided I wanted to work my change until that year ended. And I moved into the Hierophant. And it was really at that point that I'd really loved working with the word of the year, even though it was just out of control with death and snake and forward. But when I started factoring in that aspect of using the year card with my tarot year card and then the word of the year, it's become a very, powerful, I keep saying powerful lately, but I feel like there's so much that is powerful, but like in an empowering, powerful, not like I will have dominion over the sky and sea and I will just control it all. Not that kind of power, like the healthy self-empowerment kind of power. But I've been finding that working with this, and the more I do work with it, it's been since 2014 now, and several years into that, working with those two things, that there's a certain magic and energy that it does set for the year. And when I do work with a word, I try not to hold what I think it is. I try to let it be what it's going to be. So I'm not thinking, oh, I have to do this and this. Like the other year, my word was heal. And turned out to be a very appropriate word for what had happened. My dad died the previous year, right at the end. So, and I had picked that out before things went wrong with him. So it was very interesting. And to move into that word and just let it be what it needed to be. Not like, oh, I'm going to fix this in myself, or I'm going to fix that, or I have to live my life in this. This is how I think heal's going to be, and that's how I live my life. Very much not how I use the word of the year. How I use it is just like, okay, I have this idea of whether it's, forward, heal was one, beauty was last year's. This year is seen, working on not hiding, working on being very visible about how I live my life and run my business. And so that's the idea. There may be a concept behind why I chose a word, but when I head into it, no, it's not about like, okay, I have this rigid structure. It's about exploring that energy within my life and seeing where it takes me. And the same with the tarot year card, and its exploration of where's that energy going? How does it work in my life? How do I use it? It's like the Hierophant after death was, just brilliant. And Hierophant had always been one of those tarot cards that kind of left me a little, it always felt very vague to me. Kind of like, what the hell do you mean? What are you saying to me, Hierophant? I don't, ugh. It was always one of those cards I never quite fully connected with until my Hierophant year with it. And I'm like, oh, hi, Yoda. Hierophant turns out to be a lot like Yoda, at least for me. This offering up of knowledge. And it's like, here's this knowledge. Now you use it. Now you've learned it. Now you have to use it. It's like when Luke's like, I have to go save my friends. And Yoda's like, don't be a dummy. Stay here and learn. And Luke's like, no, I gotta go. Yoda doesn't say, no, you no go. He says, okay, I don't suggest it, but you're going to do what you're going to do. You have to make your own choices. You have the knowledge I gave you. You got to make your choices. And he let Luke make his choices. And that became very much what the Hierophant became for me. And Lovers too. Lovers, and it's kind of interesting because at the Lovers year, I still felt kind of like, it was kind of interesting because I thought, well, there'd be more like, what are your choices? And I didn't get so much the choice aspect. I think I got more of the unity aspect with my Lovers year. Was a year of kind of, it felt like Hierophant was definitely a year of integration after death. And Lovers also felt like kind of, that was heal, I think, though. So it was kind of an interesting, I guess, no, it was a choice. It was a choice to keep moving from the high vibe as opposed to just wallowing in the emotions I was having. And that willingness to be able to move and I don't like the word really high vibe, but move from like love in my heart as opposed to the sadness and sorrow I was feeling in the mourning and the grieving. Because you can feel all that stuff and still be like, I'm going to move from love. I'm still going to move from my highest good, even though I have these really, really hard, deep emotions. And that kind of was Lovers, was healing Lovers and the exploration of that. But yeah, Chariot was interesting too. Chariot was like, rah, 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 rah. Chariot and Beauty, that was my pairing for that year. And I wanted a word that kind of would remind me when I was chomping at the bit not to like run myself over. And the Beauty way with the Navajo, not to sound culturally appropriating because I don't particularly work with it, but the Beauty was more in that way as opposed to like, I'm gonna live this beautiful life, beautiful curated Instagram life. But it's kind of interesting because the Beauty way also works intensively with the 4 elements, which have been a strong aspect of my spiritual practice for many years. So it all kind of fit together. So it was like Beauty and the Chariot because I wanted something to remind me not to like throw myself under the chariot when I just wanted to go for it and just keep going. And really I did. I chomped at the bit a lot. I was like, I'm just gonna. And I did a lot of going for it. And I also realized there were times when I was so busy with multiple things that I needed to pace myself and not throw myself out of my chariot by going so fast. But with that transitional energy, and then picking up this word to transition with it and work with and explore the energy throughout the year has been very interesting for me and become very much part of my spiritual practice. And it also is another way of bringing that spiritual practice into the mundane, muggly world of just regular life and constantly reminding yourself, ooh, this year I am seen. This year I am seen. It is safe to be seen. And working around, maybe let the cat out because she just can't open the door. So in one way, I also start to bring this in. It's like a brand new art journal, pretty much. I always get so excited when I start a new one. And pretty much the first thing that has went in, I just ripped off a hangnail and I'm bleeding, was my word of the year. And the eye in the triangle has been a theme that keeps popping up. And towards the end of last, I'm trying to see which page I'm. The eye in a triangle in an eye in a triangle started popping up too. And when I was doing this, that's what came out. So that's kind of become the sign. Is it a sign? Sign. Symbol is the word I'm looking for. Symbol for being seen this year. So I was going to create a sigil, and this kind of just this triangle eye with another triangle eye. This kind of became that for me. And because a lot of times with sigil magic, you do it and then you're supposed to forget it. And there's the other aspect of sigil magic where it's more like a mantra kind of thing where you create it and then you just ingrain it till it's like just not thinking about it. Yeah, that's seen. And this is another way I also start bringing in this into how I work. It's like I usually take Life Book just because it's so much fun. If you want a fun art class, go for Life Book. Lots of different teachers, very affordable and fun, not affiliated, but long-time student. But she always has a warm-up, and it always usually is like revolves around a word of the year. And so, it's like you have that one and then this one too. And usually, like, I was going to go, because if you notice, the other one's very muted. And I've been noticing that my work has been very muted as in the last year. It's very muted. And that's fine. But I'm like, you know what? As I was going to go for my usual blue, it's kind of like ultramarine, yellowish green, and an alizarin crimson-y kind of color. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go analogous, and I'm going to use reds, yellows, and orange. Because I don't use analogous very often. I'm kind of closer more to a split complementary. Not perfectly, but that's what I tend to fall into with that color scheme of the ultramarine, yellowy green, and the alizarins. Crimson-y kind of color. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do something totally different. I really kind of do like how it turned out. This, I think, needs something darker, though. Although on screen. But yeah, I had these book pages where I ended up collaging over my collage because the book pages kind of faded back in and you couldn't see them very well. And they did not feel seen. And this felt much more seen. So you can also bring this aspect of verbiage in through artwork. Art is very much a part of how I work that kind of stuff. So play around with it. Find out what works for you. This year I'm actually added an element after a life book class from last year, but where she's like, chooses an element each year instead of a word of the year. Of course, I'm not going to get rid of anything. I'm just going to add on. So I ended up this year with seeing tarot card of, strength, I think. Yes, strength. And boulder. Because as she was, this artist lady was talking about how she uses the element. Her first year was like octopus or something like that. And I'm like, boulder popped into my head because boulders are very seen, boulders are very solid, boulders last. And then I went and had a little nap. And I had a dream about this boulder, this really big boulder. And there's like this little nest at the base of the boulder, blankets and pillows for me to sleep in. And I'm like, okay, I'm so adding this. So here is, I'm trying out a new item, which is the element idea of bringing in some kind of object or more conceptual, solid kind of thing, as opposed to just this abstract word that I'm exploring. So it'll be interesting to see how those three work together by the time I get to the end. So that's how I work my New Year magic. That's really one of the main ways that I start to change the energy from the previous year into the new year and bring about new and different things within my life by exploring that word that I choose to explore. And sometimes I explore it more actively, and sometimes I kind of forget it's my word for a while and don't really do much with it. So, alrighty, that's it for today. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. Check out the Friday card reveal on the website every Friday. See you there. And if you didn't watch the full moon for the first of the year, watch it. It was like one of those that's just a doozy. So, in a good way though. In a good way. Not a doozy in a bad way. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Much love.